All right. We're gonna beat the drum forward here, and we're gonna power into this meeting. It's gonna be a really, really good meeting. We're gonna come out with some great golden nuggets. We also have fantastic people on the screen here every single week, man. I appreciate everyone who comes here consistently, and I appreciate all the newbies on here, new faces, people who can show up when they can come on here. We do appreciate it very, very much. And I'll tell you, like, the round table is something really, really special for me. We've been doing it for years. I fortunately have been able to build a really phenomenal team here at Asphalt Kingdom that has allowed me to also get some time with my family as well, which is important. I've gone many, many years. It's 16 hours a day type years. Some of you who know me well know I've gone pretty hard for many years, as a lot of you have as well. But I want to give a shout out to Mr. Matthias here for really co-hosting, and I want to give a shout out to all the coaches and the regulars on here, man. You guys hold it down really, really well. And for somebody who started this as a dream 22 years ago, celebrating our 23rd business anniversary coming up in December, it's a dream come true to know that this light can carry on here without me needing to actually be here. And you guys show up strong, and you come out with wins and all kinds of great experiences that you continue to share. So thank you guys. That's huge. Really grateful. Thank you, Matthias, for co-hosting and leading that way. And again, thanks to all of you. Cool. All right, names updated. Down in the bottom, you can chat with anyone. And what we're going to do is we're going to jump in with some wins out of the gate to get the energy up. We're going to move into some wins. I want to hear about some success that's going on in the community, because success does attract success. It's just the way it rolls, man. You know what it's like to be on a winning streak. It's always really cool to bring people into your wake of a winning streak, because you'll tend to find that you'll tap those vibrations. Quantum mechanics and quantum physics is a pretty darn cool thing. And when you get into those vibrations and into the wake of that, usually what I say is your chance of success just gets heightened, man. For anybody on here who's wink, wink, an athlete or has played any kind of sports in any way, shape, or form, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And in business, it's the same thing, right? As leaders in your business, what happens when you come in on a day where you may have had somebody piss in your cornflakes, or somebody that might have pissed you off in the morning on the way to work, or maybe you didn't take the time to express gratitude in the morning and do some affirmations and that kind of stuff. What happens when you get into that room with your other team members that you're leading? What happens to those people, right? They get into that energy, that channel, the chance of success, the chance of having a really good culture in your organization's challenging. So I urge you guys to again continue to go into those vibrations, and that's what the roundtable is about here. Let's get into some wins. Ben, I know you raised your hand first, man. I'd love to hear about your wins, but Ben.
Special thanks to you and Dylan, Coach Dylan, for being in my corner. It's been I'm not gonna lie, I've been kind of a little bit of wimp to make some phone calls. I started picking up the phone. I dialed 16 numbers, connected, I think it's like 10 or 13 calls, got an appointment, and got one store referral today. Somebody told me, it's like, dude, you're worried about your accent. It's like, don't worry about it, just pound the pounds, dude. It's some dog food, and then in 4 years you'll be driving your Lambo. I'm not sure about that, but it works. Thanks for to my
That's
corner, guys. It has been a blessing, and just to have this meeting. My wife told me, it's like, are you gonna join your meeting, AK Dash? I was like, oh yeah, I better go in. But thank you for hosting this. Thanks for being in my corner, guys. It really means a lot to me.
Pleasure. Congratulations on your success. I watch you in that WhatsApp group, man. You're asking great questions and you keep going. Just remember, it's important too, at the end of the day, man, look in the mirror and say, you know what, man, I gave this my best shot. And if you didn't give it your best shot, tomorrow's an opportunity to give it a better shot, right? So just always be working on progress. A lot of the time we end up being like, man, I got to be 90% better. And I feel like I'm not fully successful today. And it's like, well, yeah, yesterday it's only been 24 hours, man. Get 1% better, right? And let's grow, man. So Ben, you're FTDPing, brother, following the dang process, as we say.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you guys.
Cool. Steve, what's going on, man?
So this is a weird win, but so when we first got in the business a few months ago, we're in Colorado. We purchased a new stripe machine. They're located right here in Aurora. We just figured let's start out with something basic, and we purchased it. We've had great luck with it. I hear lots of negative things about it, but we've had no problems really. But it turns out their model two steps up has a Honda engine, and Honda reached out to New Stripe and said, we've got this budget for a commercial we need to shoot, and we don't know what to do, so we want to give you guys some money. So they're coming out to New Stripe to film inside the plant, and New Stripe didn't have anybody in Colorado that had the Honda engine, so they gave me a new machine, a brand new $4,400 machine. So
Nice.
we're filming the commercial in like 15 days. So I was like, hey, now
Send
I
me
got two machines. I can do bigger jobs a lot faster. It's a win. So until I can get a Graco or a Titan and with automatic parking lot designs and all that stuff built in, we'll still do it manually. But yeah, it's a pretty good win.
This is where I never ever hesitate asking something. Steve, man, I would love it, brother. Take this note down. I would love it if when you're using that new stripe and you've got action going on, grab some video shots of you guys out there doing that. Grab some photos, throw it in a Google Drive, man. I'd love to feature you guys on a blog post or something on AK if that's something of interest. I'm just gonna
Sure,
ask
that'd be
straight
great.
out. If you don't
Yeah,
ask,
we're
you
looking
never
to
get,
get
guys. You gotta ask.
exactly.
Yeah.
We're looking to get a bunch of B-roll footage, where they can focus in on my company name and our truck and stuff like that. So as long as they're there with many cameras and drones and whatever, they can just give us all the stuff they don't want. We can take it and then put it together, and we'll push Honda and New Stripe, and they can push us in New Stripe, and cross branding is always awesome. So
Mike, Mike saying, Mike saying, Judd, send him a hat. Of course. Yeah.
Great.
Steve, I'd send you a hat, man.
Sounds good.
All right. Let's organize that. Cool. All right. Any other wins that you guys want to jump into here? Any other wins? Actually, go ahead, Mike. You're muted.
So I just wanted to share when I'm actually doing the homework that Dylan's been giving me to do, and following through on a bunch of it here this week. And I got my cool Google Calendar going on, and it's starting to look stacked, y'all. I got stuff in there keeping me busy. I got work the rest of after tomorrow, all Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, next Sunday. I got a guy calling me wanting to know when I can, when he can, who I actually subcontract a lot of stuff for, when I'm gonna be available to help him do his stuff. And I've gotten a lead this morning from AK Contractor Network. I'm gonna go out there next Tuesday, look at a job, and then I got another job that's 500 plus stalls for Collier's, a big property management place in the same town, an hour away. I set her back up to go out there and look at their stuff. And a lot of this is just coming through the coaching, and I'm learning a way to hunt for the people that I need to be talking to nowadays, where I don't even have to deal with a gatekeeper. It just takes a whole lot of that out of it. Like today, I made a call to a bank. I thought I was calling the operations manager. Somebody else answered. They said, okay, I'm gonna leave her a message to get a hold of you about your pavement assessment. She wasn't in. And I asked them what their title was there. And they said, oh, well, I'm in the finance operation. I said, well, because I'm trying to find the right guy. If you could, because we done had like a 5-minute conversation, me and this person. And I thought it'd be a good time to ask them if I was on the, the right trail. They said, oh, no, you need to talk to this person. They're the Andy McMillan. He's the maintenance for People's Bank in your state. I'm going to leave a note on his desk right now for him to get a hold of you. I got your contact information and everything. So, it works. I just haven't really been applying the stuff that I've been taught to do, because there's two things going on. One is I just like to go do the work. I enjoy that. And two is I don't know what I'm gonna do with all this work when it starts coming in. But Dylan keeps telling me I want to create a new problem for you, Michael. I want you to have so much work that you can't even make the phone calls and do the outreach anymore. You're gonna have to hire somebody to do that so you could go do the work. And I like the way both of that looks. And also, whenever I got a question about angle parking or stalls or a job I'm looking at, I can talk to Dylan, send him videos, pictures, call him, talk. I mean, man, have somebody with all this years of experience right there to get back with you. I mean, you can't put a price on that. So just want to encourage anybody that ain't getting the coaching right now, when you get to a comfortable spot where you can afford it, if that's a problem, most definitely invest in that, because the return on that, it'll make you laugh at what you thought was a lot of money going out. It pays for itself real fast. And it gives you the security that you're on the right path and you see the things working. You hear other people that are going through it before you, and you're like, man, how did they get that? This is how they get it right here. Thank y'all. Appreciate you, Dylan, Judd, Matthias, everybody. Skylar, thank y'all.
Hard to follow anything like that, Mike. Appreciate you. I mean, it means the world. And just seeing your success, like we've been doing this for, I think 2 months, maybe 3 months now. And just to see you go from, I remember our first call, looking at the budget and just being like, cut it, cut it, cut it. All right, now we need to go and hunt. And I remember create a new problem, create a new problem where you've got so much work you don't know what to do with. Don't worry, Mike. There's a process for that. We'll FTDP that too. All right.
Oh, and one last thing I want to tell y'all, because when they get in there and they get to the money and the nuts and bolts of it, and they start, and Dylan or whoever starts trimming back some of the stuff that you thought you might need, you might think you need some click funnels right now. You might think you need to be on with Dean Grazio and all them, paying them their money. You might think you need Breakthrough Boss, and you might need that a year or two down the road. And it won't hurt you to listen to some of it, but don't go get tied up in a $199 or $200 a month deal with them, and then worry about how you're going to pay your bills at the end of the month. Focus on the people and the things that can help you get to where you need to be at, to maybe later on look at some of that stuff. So when they trim it fast, and then what they say, what you get saved in, it's like didn't even cost you nothing anyways. The other stuff you don't even use, you just want to try to figure it out. They got it figured out for you. Follow the DEG process. Thank you.
Mike, I remember I brought Skylar on here too, because I remember at the pro striping workshop when we were with you, man, and you were like fully engaged. There was, how many people, Skylar, were there? 55, something like that. Skylar's frozen, I think. There was like 50. I think
can
Mike,
hear you.
Oh, you heard us? Okay. I can't see or hear him, but anyway, there was like 55 people at the pro striping workshop, and Mike was like, you could see his eyes lit up, man. There was like, we had a projector set up and we were walking through the details, like following the yellow brick road, following the process. And it was like, it was 2 days, right? It was 1 day of in office in Skylar's shop, and then 1 day out in field. And I could see Mike like full out, like, yes, yes, yes. I love all of this. I want all of this. But you leave there after 2 days and it's like, holy cow, how do I do all of this, right? Like, how do I transform all of that into an actual machine that's now a business that's growing enterprise value and making great money for me and stacking the wins and so on. And I think that's where I think we're so I'm certainly so grateful that we've been able to build a program around and Dylan and coaches, like, so fortunate that we have accountability and things that we're doing that go beyond just a one shot type of a coaching experience. It's long term. I'm not here to pitch everybody coaching, but I'm saying for those of you that have done coaching, and let me just ask the question. Actually, this is going to be fun. Let's just unspotlight. Hold on. Remove spotlight. And I'm going to remove spotlight. Who here has done coaching with AK so far? Raise your hand if you've done coaching with AK. You've attended any of our events. Cool. Raise your hand if you've got any value in any of them. Raise your hand if you've got value in all of them. Good value.
Hey, what's that? What's the coaching?
So like coaching, we have different kinds of coaching. So coaching, we do virtual coaching where we do like right on Zoom like this, where it's one-on-one coaching. Then we have infield coaching as well, where you can actually go and spend time out in the field with one of our coaches. So like Skylar, who's on here right now, he does a lot of our infield coaching, most of it. He's right here, runs a multi-million-dollar operation.
Oh,
Skylar, come off mute.
What's
hey,
up?
There you are.
no,
Somewhere.
congratulations on that.
Yeah, so it's pretty awesome, man, because what we're doing is it's where the rubber meets the road, so to speak, right? Like we can teach how to prospect, we can teach how to do, enrich prospecting, we can teach you how to do pavement assessment, appointment setting, how to read a script, how to book those appointments, get your calendars filled up, go out, do your proposals using Dash, making sure that you're working those proposals on a strategic follow-up process so that you're increasing your conversion results, building more lifetime value out of your customers, and going out and hunting the larger projects that are actually going to fill the bank account versus going after, let's say, $2,500 driveways. The rubber meets the road is once you've learned a lot of that framework and you have accountability, now you've got to go and throw. You got to go play out in the field. You got to go play on the court. You got to go and actually go lay it down right and become a master of your craft. And that's where actually I'm really excited to transition into this, because I've got a real dear friend on here right now tonight who's been kind enough to come on tonight. 50 plus years of experience in the pavement industry. That's 50. Okay, 50 years. To give you an idea, guys, he looks like he's 25, so I don't know how he's got 50 years of it. But when we speak about a guy who is like, he inductee in the Hall of Fame for the pavement industry, Pavement Hall of Fame, like he is the guy that I looked up to by far the most in this industry, straight up. And he was the guy that I called 20 years ago when I placed my very first order that was getting fulfilled to a customer. I remember the phone number. I say it often, but also, through those years, we really have developed a relationship, and he knows my family. I know his family. He celebrated our 20th business anniversary down in the Caribbean with us. Is such a passionate person and really super humble. One of the most humble people that I have met. As the president of Gem Seal, he was a top dog at Seal Master. He knows coatings. He's built and sold seal coat plants. He's worked with probably thousands of contractors over the years, spoken to thousands, and he's on the round table tonight. Lee, welcome to the round table, man. Thank you for being here, brother.
You're always way too kind, Judd. You're always way too kind. You always give me way too much credit. But I tell you what, I appreciate the relationship. I'll never forget the phone call you made and the conversation we had that first evening or afternoon or whatever it was, and what developed from there. So I appreciate the kind words. You've been doing this a long time, and I've seen you grow in so many ways. You have a wonderful family, just an absolutely beautiful, beautiful family. They're so kind, so gracious. They always have been. And the reason I bring it up is because it speaks to your inner spirit, and you don't have that kind of a family and that kind of support if you don't have it in your own heart, the goodness and the kindness. So I'm honored to be here. Appreciate that you asked me to be here. So, and again, your words are always way, way, way too kind. More than I deserve. Trust me, more than I deserve. So,
I appreciate.
And by the way,
yeah,
for the people on this call, I started as a laborer pushing a broom next to a blower. The first 12 days in this industry for me, when I was barely 19, I pushed for 12 days straight, walked next to a blower, pushing a broom, cleaning 2 million square feet of a foundry parking lot. So I wasn't born president and CEO of Gem Seal. It's been a long road. But I tell you what, it's a very exciting business, and from what I'm hearing, a lot of you are new to the industry and new to the business, and I love the enthusiasm. It's a lot different than it was in 1976. There's a lot of information out there. That's good and bad, because believe it or not, not everything on the internet is true. So you have to be very careful of what you buy into. And so I'm grateful to Judd and his team for wanting to coach people to do things the right way, and not just the right application techniques, but to run their businesses the right way, and to run them and try to be the top of the class, to be, summa cum laude, number one, top, in what you provide for your customer. Because if you treat your customer the way they should be treated, you'll have them for life. And I think Judd's relationship, our relationship, I think is an illustration of that. We've always treated each other with respect. We may not have always agreed, because families don't always agree. However, we're always after the same thing: do it the right way. Do it the right way. And one last little piece, and I'll get out of your hair. I'll be quiet. Getting started in the business, Judd, you and I have talked about this many times. There's a couple things. Don't get in the business to be the cheapest, because you don't want to be that race to the bottom, because you'll be out of business way, way, way too fast. You want to learn from your competitors. Competition is not a bad thing. Competition is a very good thing. But you also want to go into your market and be the disruptor. And Judd, I'll let you explain what that means, because you've probably already said it, and I don't want to repeat what you've already been telling people. But don't be afraid to be the disruptor. Respect your competition. Find their weak spots. Find where you're better than they are. Sell where what you do well. Never sell against a competitor from the standpoint that you demean yourself by saying something bad about a competitor. Take the high road. Always, always take the high road. One last thing. If you're getting all the work, you're doing something wrong. Chances are you're too cheap. Something's not right. Learn from when you lose a job. Learn from when you win a job. But make sure you take the high road. Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox, Judd.
No, this is can thumbs up, guys. Everybody on side with this? Is this making sense to everyone? Because I'll tell you what, man. When I was first getting started, and even when I was growing my business in the industry, I didn't have people that have this kind of experience, right? And this is something that you really want to engage with right now in these kind of moments, man, is the experience, the true knowledge behind it. I'll tell you, I see a lot of people going out there and just making ends meet in this industry. A lot. The majority go out and just make ends meet. And they end up usually in the, if we're talking about the northern climates where we start to get cold spells, they enter fall with some money, but then they burn through the money real quick in the winter, and they become hungry in Q1 going into that January, February, March run. They're unable to do any kind of purchasing in a time where they should be doing a lot of their purchasing for equipment and supplies and these kind of things, because they have gone through all their capital. But in addition, they haven't taken their family on a trip. They don't live in a very nice home. I'm not saying you need a nice big home. I'm just saying if you desire a nice home, you should be able to buy it with a business that you've built in this industry. You should be able to have some great acreage if you want some land. You should be able to drive a nice vehicle that's paid off. You should be able to take your kids somewhere and go on vacation for a few weeks. You should be able to do that kind of stuff in this industry. Heck, in this industry, it's possible to take 2 or 3 months off in the winter if you wanted to do that. You could take 4 months off. This industry has the ability for you guys to be able to do that within this industry. And I think that that's such an important thing, is when we talk about differentiating from the pack, What are we really investing into to build the foundation that's going to separate us from the pack? Now, if 95%, 90% of people are doing it that way, where they're trying to catch their tail, don't you think that it's our responsibility in these kind of engaged conversations to maybe explore what it looks like to build the right foundation for ourselves so that we can build something that's going to give us the freedom we're looking for in our life? I think we deserve that. I think that that opportunity should be able to be embraced. And that's what we've built here, guys. That's why I bring the coaches here. That's why Lee has come here. It's why we have a learning session on September 18th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Lee's hosting with me a 90-minute session on the science behind pavement maintenance. And we're going to be going through some pretty awesome stuff where you guys can become the master of your craft. You need to be able to speak about things like a world-class business person speaking about this industry, not someone that's out there saying, I'll seal your cracks and seal coat your parking lot for $5,000 and then I'll stripe it. You need to be able to actually differentiate. And Lee, I know you have so much to talk about it, like in this stuff, man, but like, is this,
I'm trying to find how to raise my hand and I can't figure it out. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm so sorry.
just
No,
interrupt, guys. It's no problem.
Really, if you just keep this in mind. You don't want to create a job. You want to create a business. You don't want this to become no different than paycheck to paycheck. Everything you do should be aimed at building a long-term, sustainable, profitable business. And profit is not a bad word at all. You don't want it. Look, you might struggle in the beginning. Stick with it. But keep in mind, learn the basics, but also at the same time, and I'm sure Judd coaches you on this, learn how to build a business. There is a big difference between collecting money every day for a job and putting cash in your pocket and actually building a sustainable business. And that's really what your goal should be. Your goal is to make money, obviously, but in order to make money, you have to run a business and you have to make sure you learn how to run a business. It's manage the growth, do what you need to do it the right way, but keep in mind that this is a business you're building, not just a paycheck. So, anyway,
it's similar to like, okay, so like, raise your hand if you've ever used Google My Business to look for people's business reviews because you're considering being a customer. Raise your hand if you've ever used Google reviews to look. So it's everyone on here. Is that right? Every single person has raised their hand. If we're building our business, do you think that it makes sense that Google My Business profile is optimized and really set up perfectly so that if we were the customer coming, we would be wowed by it, that there's actually stacked reviews in there, that if you have a bad review, that there's not some kind of bullshit rebuttal that's argumentative, but instead actually just saying, you know what? I may have messed up on this one and I fixed it. And then you get somebody who counter comments that says, this company not only took my bad review, but they ran with it. They did what they needed to do. They manned up and now they fixed it. And that's now up there publicly. You can turn people who leave a bad review into raving fans. But again, back to your Google reviews. If you don't have your business, my Google business profile optimized, stacked with photos, stacked with videos, stacked with reviews, it just means that you haven't started to do it. Start doing it now. Facebook, same thing. You guys ever gone to Facebook, look up a business Facebook page? You ever looked that up? Raise your hand honestly if you've ever looked up a Facebook business page. You ever looked up Instagram? Maybe less. You ever looked up LinkedIn profiles? Probably a good idea for us to have all of those platforms optimized and looking pretty sharp. You guys ever go to the website, go to someone's website to look at their website if you're planning on doing business with them? I think we all agree, right? That we need omni-channel base, that foundation. We're not going to get a job. You don't need all that stuff. Being a business owner and building a business, you want to build that intellectual property, that marketing foundation, so that you have the social proof that you need, so that you can generate leads from it as well, right? The face of your business. Now, let me ask you from a sales standpoint, you ever call a phone number up that you're considering doing business with, and it sounds like they don't even want to speak with you? Raise your hand if you've ever heard that. Raise your hand if you ever called up a company and it sounds like they don't even give a shit whether or not you're calling. I think we would agree that if you, correct me if I'm wrong, probably more so than not, you end up calling a phone number and they do a piss poor job at actually profiling and qualifying and making sure they're listening to your pain points, uncovering the challenges, and then properly introducing solutions to you. Probably the majority fail at that, right? They don't use the closer framework, right, Mike? They don't use the closer framework. And it's like, that's how you sharpen your pencil. Now, have you ever got a service where somebody comes to sell you a service and they don't know what they're speaking about? You ever had that? I've had that many times. It's like you ever book a travel package with a travel agent, and the travel agent doesn't know anything about the destination? All they're doing is reading off the pamphlet. Lee, when you speak about applications, when you speak about mixed designs, when you think about when you speak about weather, when you speak about the different kinds of seal coat that actually exist in our industry, the audience is generally wowed. Like, you've attended roundup events, live roundup events, and you've spoken in front of, you know, NPs, and you've spoken in front of audiences, and the audience sits there, and I've seen it where they're wowed. It's like, it's not just wowed, it's like, holy shit, I better know a lot more about what it is that I'm actually doing, because I don't just have a job. This is my business. It's like a heart surgeon that doesn't understand how to communicate about heart surgery. I probably won't see the surgeon.
I I think you've known this for a long time, Judd. I'm extraordinarily fortunate because I've done what everybody on this call is doing. I've been the low guy in a crew. We used to apply 300,000+ gallons of sealer a year. We used to resurface 300 to 400 tennis courts a year. I've sold crack filler in China. I'm fortunate because I've been able to experience, because we were contractors, what contractors go through. I'm fortunate because I've been able to be part of making materials, applying the materials, seeing the good and the bad, seeing the mistakes, learning from mistakes. And so for me, the reason that I teach this course or wrote this book or whatever is because I found that the more I knew about not just how the coatings are made, but how they interact with the asphalt, how they interact with the atmosphere, the materials that go into them, the shortcomings, because they all have shortcomings. The more I understood how valuable it is to have that background, because then you can look at a particular job and you can say, well, you know what, here's where we're going to have a problem. We need to do this. Mrs. Smith, I'm sorry, but it's northern Wisconsin and it's Halloween, and here's why we want your business, but we want it next spring. I can explain why. And you don't have to be a rocket scientist, because Lord knows I'm not. But I always felt that the technical side of the business was always overlooked. I can give you numerous examples where somebody called me up and said, this crack filler didn't work. And I go out and look at the job and it's pretty obvious to me why. But then I can explain it to the contractor, who could then go explain it to his customer, or the contractor learns from that and goes forward from that day and does a much better job. I always found that if I could engage a property owner in the conversation about their parking lot, very quickly I could ascertain whether they just want to paint it black and make it look pretty, or if they really wanted to do some preventive maintenance. And once you know what they want, then you can certainly answer their questions and you can close that job. And chances are somebody who just wants to paint it black, you can give them all the reasons, all the additional benefits beyond what they're looking for. And what do you become? You become their expert, their resource, their person. They call you when they have an issue. And that develops a long-term relationship with a customer, which goes to building a business. So long-winded, I feel very, very strongly that you cannot know enough about the products that you're using and why they're made the way they're made, what they're made out of, and how you can expect them to perform on the pavement. So and it's to your point, it's amazing to see the reaction when people come up and say, well, nobody ever told me this before. Shame on your sales guy or whatever. Maybe your sales guy doesn't know, but I want to know everything I can about what I'm doing. I don't care what it is. I don't care what it is.
Yeah, I saw it in Tampa. I saw it in Astor, Florida. I've seen it time and time again, in that environment where a lot of people year one through year three of startup, and even some 5, 6, 7, 10 years, they still don't know. And it's like, once you actually go through the learning of it, and once you understand it, things just become a lot more clear as to the way that you're going to communicate about it. Skylar is on here. You've met Skylar, of course, Skylar Garment, and he's on here right now. Skylar, you had a question in the chat. Do you want to come right on camera and ask?
Yeah, I just said I think it would be great, like a one-pager takeaway after the course for everybody of mixed designs for temperatures, materials, etc. That they can it's a question I get very, 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 very often of and I totally understand that ambient and dew point and they're depending how far down the rabbit hole you want to get with mixed design can change what that is. But I would say as a forefront, when I'm talking to people a lot, it's a question I get very often of just well, mixed design and how about this and how about that and how long of curing time, so just like a one pager that could be a takeaway or a handout in the course, I think would be great for all these guys. And again, I know we've had good conversations. I've been in the class, and I think, you have the knowledge and I think you're really great at simplifying complex problems and complexities inside of mixed designs at a very, very simple level that people can comprehend and understand very quickly. So I just think it would be great for them to take away something like that.
I appreciate that. So I understand where you're coming from, but let me give you the flip side of that. Giving somebody the mixed design is sort of like giving somebody the keys to the car and they've never had a driver's training course. Again, that's an oversimplification, which I'm very good at because I'm very simple-minded. So there's more to it than that. But yes, in the book that I wrote, it's without the bibliography, it's about 90 pages, and it goes into sand and how it's used and why it should be used and the different types of lattices that make up latex additives. And then it goes into mixed design. And mixed design also has to be appropriate to the type of material that you're using. So a one-page handout, yes, it could be simplified so that you've got some very high-level basics, and that might help somebody. I recently gave a talk to a group that when I talked about sand and sealer, I thought I was talking to the wall. They all had this blank look on their face. Well, we've never used sand. Why would we, et cetera, et cetera. So I can give you a mixed design and I can give you a matrix. And it just depends on how far you want to play it. The type of material, the dilution rate, the pounds per gallon with an additive, without an additive. But then you can go really far down the rabbit hole in what time of year is it? What climate are you in? I'm not going to give a mixed design in Phoenix that I'm going to give to somebody in Boston. So let me chew on that a little bit. And let me see if I can come up with something that is generic enough not to get people in trouble. Okay. Is that fair? I mean, I don't mean to shut you down. I know exactly where you're coming from.
Yeah, no, I mean,
I'm very much more on your side, right? And I figured you would be a significantly more like, and I don't want to say even close to your level of depth and understanding, but you know, again, we do mixed designs on a daily basis with additives, etc., sand loads, you know, depending on, you know, again, surface conditions, etc., right? Like
Right. Yeah.
every day. So we're more on that, and it's like, how do I take that and get it to exactly like you're saying, enough to educate somebody to understand the basics and why it's important, but not enough to get them in trouble on the flip end of that. So yeah,
I
we
take it
pride ourselves
seriously.
at selling that almost,
I-
right? You know, it's one of our sale points of mixed design of, hey, the load I'm putting on your parking lot is not the load I'm putting on this or that because it's different.
Yeah, I give me a little bit, and actually, I'm glad you brought that up because the book's not entirely finished, and I think it needs a section on mixed designs, and I hadn't thought about that, so thank you. So I will work on it. Thank you for that. I will get you a copy of whatever I come up with, and then I'll add it to the book and to the presentation. It's a great suggestion, and I really do appreciate it because look, I don't know everything. It's going to make me sit down and think about some things too. So I appreciate that.
Awesome. I'm glad I could take a part in that, and I'm super stoked for the book. So let me know when it's out so I can buy a copy. So
It'll be out soon. It's almost finished. I've only been working on it for a year and a half.
awesome.
No, thank you very, very much. I appreciate that.
Yes, thank you.
Quick note here too, just let me go ahead and I've got a cool gallery view that I've got going on here. I'm just going to share my screen here, team, just so you're aware, and then we can maybe open up. Lee, are you cool to field some questions from any of the roundtable members while we're on? We're kind of rounding out to the top of the hour.
Yeah, I'm sorry. What is it that you want me to do? I was distracted for a second.
Just field some questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
No problem.
So roundtable members, you can go ahead and just use your emoji down at the bottom to raise your hand if you have some questions for Lee, Lois. In the meantime, can everyone see my screen? I think you can.
Yeah.
Cool. So it's coming up on September 18th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, literally just under 8 days away. It's $299 to attend this. It's a 90-minute session. It's $299. It's the price of a driveway, a 4-car driveway to go out there. So we've priced it really, really. Thank you, Lee. We've come up with a price where we can really get everybody committed to attending. It's a very, very fair price. You're going to get it as part of it. We're going to be hosting it, of course, and Lee's going to be going into all the details regarding what you're going to learn. And then down here, we have a certificate of course completion, which I think is really, really important. You guys, whoever attends this or whoever ends up buying the video version of this afterwards, the non-live, you'll get a certificate of course completion that will come through. You're also going to get a copy of Lee's book once it's launched. He's agreed to that, so that's huge. And we're also giving access to the vault, AK Vault, for those of you that don't have access. You'll get that as well as part of it. $299. The recording is more expensive because we really want you guys there live and engaged, ideally. But that's basically what it is. We're going to max this out just transparently, just to keep things organized and make sure that it doesn't turn into 150 people in a room, in a Zoom room. Want to keep it down around that sub 50 mark. So just as a side note, but would love to have you guys there. If you have interest, please don't hesitate to reach out to our team to answer any questions. And of course, if you have any questions right now, it would probably be a good time because the next time you'll see Lee is when you're doing the course with us and the presentation that he's prepared. All right. Drop the link. I'm dropping the link, Skylar. It's coming in right now into the chat right here. Can everyone see that in the chat just in case you want to click through? All right, cool. Yeah. Bookmark the page, mark it in your calendar. Contact us, whatever we can help with. Any questions for Lee? There's got to be questions on here, guys. Take advantage of this opportunity. We got 10 minutes. All right, Ben, hit it.
Hey, Lee, this is going to be a kind of a sensitive question. I'm not sure how to ask it right in the right way. We talked about not to speak about a router competition, right? But I heard this from contractors that some brands of silk coating are not very good. Could you expand a little bit on that? Is it more that the brand's not very good, or is it more on usage error? You know what I mean?
Well, I tell you what, a lot of that, there's a lot of variables in that. You can have the best product in the world and you can do a lousy job, make the product look terrible. You can actually have a mediocre material, and if you know how to use it or what to do with it, improve on it. The one thing that I would be very, very careful of, so whoever you're buying your sealer from, you just need to make sure that they have, if they're not chemists, which they probably aren't, that they have, I don't want to say backing, but they have people with the knowledge behind them. It can be a franchise system, and they can do very well. But you can go to another state and somebody in a franchise system skims the product a little bit to save money. Or you can find somebody who just started making material a year ago and they really don't have a proven track record. So really, I think the best way to gauge the product is same thing your customer is going to do. Well, if you're new in the business, why should I hire you? Well, if this is your first gallonless sealer, I don't want to be your guinea pig. Give me 2-3 years worth of just, jobs that were done with your product. Let me go look at them. Every sales guy in the world is going to tell you his product's the best, right? Whether he believes it or not. So do your own due diligence. How long have you been in the business? How long have you been making this? How long have you been making this particular product? And tell me where I can go see it. Tell me where I can see something that's a year old, 2 years old, 3 years old. Make your own judgment call. Turn down the noise online about people chirping and talking about this and talking about that. Be your own judge. Do your research. Okay.
Thank you. Very good.
Last thing, if they recommend an additive or whatever, ask them, why this one? Why not this one over here? How compatible is it? We'll go into next week, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to shamelessly promote, but we'll go into how to discern what different additives are. And I'll give you a very quick example. Latex has a weight to it. The lighter the pail of additive, the less latex there is in that, the more water there is in it. If you've ever seen the commercials on TV where, Tide says ours is concentrate and the other one's watered down. Well, they can do the same thing with a pail of additive. How much does it weigh? How much do they recommend that you add? If they recommend that you add 3%, that means there's a lot of water. And if the price is extremely low, it means it's diluted down. That might be fine for you, but you just need to understand what you're buying. And that's what Judd refers to when we talk about understanding the science behind some of this stuff. Okay. I don't know if that answered your question. I hope it did.
I think it just gives you an idea how technical this can get, right? And how important it is to understand the ounces of information before you buy stuff, especially if you do a big project, right? You don't want to look bad and fall in your face with a bad job that you did everything you could, but the material was bad, right? So it makes sense. I think I'm excited, attend your seminar, but it makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate the question.
Marketing and selling things is very different than actually going out there and fulfilling what it is that you've marketed and sold at a world-class level.
Yeah, very well put. Very well put. Yeah.
Thanks for the question, Ben. Any other questions, team? We've got, we'll field one more question before the roundtable wraps up here.
I put them all to sleep, Judd.
Claudia, I believe your hand is up. I think it is up, I believe. Can you, oh, you're muted. Are you able to?
Oh, sorry. I didn't understand. Sorry, guys. I had a question for you, Mr. Lee, talking about like the science behind it, because I'm really into that approach. And I was just wondering, talking to an expert like you, what was your take between the water-based one and the oil one? What was your take about what would you choose for a product and the base of it? Personally, if I had to pronounce on it, me, I'm more water-based. I think you can also approach people with like the ecology type of arguments. So I was just wondering, Mr. Lee, if you could elaborate on it, please.
So overall, most sealers are what we call water-based, which means the particles, the raw materials and the particles in them are suspended in a water solution. An oil-based product usually is marketed as a rejuvenator. I don't have a lot of faith in them, I'm sorry, for a couple reasons. I've seen too many jobs where 6 months later doesn't look like anything was done. Number two, there's no way to put any aggregate, any sand in it for traction or for filling properties. There have been some hybrids where they've had coal tar and they've suspended it in an oil solution to use coal tar as a rejuvenator. Very expensive. The other thing that I do not personally care for on oil-based is flammability. I've always shied away from that sort of thing. If somebody has an oil-based material that really has a proven track record, I would love to see it. I would go out and I would fly to wherever and look at jobs that were 3 and 4 years old, because I'm open-minded enough to say, please prove it to me. And if it's great, it's great. You usually can't find oil-based sealers in every market either. But in every market, you can find a water-based sealer, whether it's coal tar-based, LP-based, or asphalt-based in a water solution.
Great. Honestly, I'm really glad you answered that because it confirms me I'm on the good way on that part. And I was also wondering, do you believe in direct contact with the asphalt? What I mean is the application of your bitumen product. Do you believe into direct contact, or what I mean by that is doing it directly contacting with like a squeegee or a brush rather than doing it with spray? Either like it's gonna take you more time, but
Okay.
if you're a good company, I do believe in direct contact. I don't know for you.
It's a great, really, that's a that's an excellent question. Without getting too far into the weeds, there are times when, I personally would prefer squeegee brush over spray. However, there are times when spray is better from the standpoint of either the age of the pavement, or if you get a parking lot or a driveway that's been sealed so many times and you go to squeegee it, you can end up with streaks and it does not look well. So if it has a lot of coating on it and all you're really trying to do is freshen it up, I would spray that. If the pavement is fairly new, a brush or a squeegee application I think is fantastic. You get to a pavement that's pitted, it's old and it's oxidized. At that point in time, I prefer spray from the standpoint that number one, you're not going to waste material, but also number two, you can spray that down and then broom behind it to get that contact. Some of the first application machines actually had a rotating, what they called a paddle wheel. Think of a paddle wheel on a riverboat, and there was a paddle wheel with numerous squeegees on it that supposedly massaged the material into the pavement. There is something to be said for that up to a certain point, but once the pavement oxidizes, those pores are basically closed off and it's very difficult to get it in. The other part of what you're talking about too, and I'm sorry if we go over, is the material has to be wet. In other words, it has to be diluted the right amount, not too thick, not too thin, in order for that asphalt and the pores in that asphalt to accept that material.
And just one last question. Thank you for everything. I was wondering, I don't know. I need to think it because I speak French, so I don't know how to say it in English right now. But it's more about you talked about the application. Do you think it's a technical question? Do you think the mesh of your silicon, the different of the mesh you can choose, can change everything?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Not only the mesh, which is the size, but also how pure it is. And it's not just the size, but it's also whether it's round, angular, or subangular. So all of those play into it. too round of a sand will have a tendency to not bond well with the coating when the film is cured and will roll out faster. Too large of a sand particle, subangular or angular, especially angular, might protrude out of the cured film, and therefore, as it wears off, actually become an abrasive and wear the coating off prematurely. So there's a balance there, and that's a great question. That's a great question.
Right, and that's the part I need to focus on right now. I'm starting understanding this, but I like information to go farther with it. But thank you for everything. I think I'm on the good path. So you just proved me nice.
I appreciate the questions. They were very good, by the way. Very thoughtful questions. How long have you been doing this?
I've discovered this 1 year ago. I became a saleswoman, sell for approximately $500,000 for my boss. He didn't pay me. I started my business in the beginning of June. I was super late. I got robbed. I got in depression for like 4 weeks, and then I got back, and now I made my first 200K. And now I really need to have better product. And I don't know shit about construction. I don't know shit. I'm just like a geek. And I need a man. Actually, I'm doing all the job alone. I'm doing all the things alone. I've been doing a lot of jobs for 200K, but I go for premium type of places, so it takes me less time.
Let me tell you something. For only being at this for a year, you're going to be extraordinarily successful. And it's because of the things that you've already thought about in the questions you're asking. It tells me how deeply engaged you are in not just selling, but proper application. You're going to do very well. Very well.
I would glad talking to you further about science, the science behind it for someday.
Cool. Claudia, it would probably be a good thing for you to attend on September 18th. I'm not trying to sell it to you in any way, shape, or form. I'm just saying for that $299 investment, it's well worth the investment. And also to have the connection is pretty special too. So as somebody who's out there building your business too in a market that I know very well, because that's where I built my business, as you know.
Yes,
I
we
know
came
that,
from the same place, but nobody knows.
I
It's
know,
like it's a special place.
it is a special place, yeah. And so you're going to do extremely well. You're on the right track, as Lee said. And I'm excited for your future. Please stay in close touch with us. We'd love to get you on a freestyle jam as well and get your business in a spotlight too. When you're ready.
Would love it. I'm ready tomorrow morning, 6:45 a.m.
I know you are. It's great. Fantastic. Now, team, everyone on here, does everyone see what being hungry is right there? Like actually going out and just crushing it, asking these questions, not being shy, and really going after that next level. That's not a job. That's building a business, man. And so passionate too. And Claudia, as you know, too, one of the things that I'm gonna say as somebody who's been up and down and all around, Lee, I know there's a bunch of us on here, but ups and downs and all arounds. It's not all cupcakes and butterflies. So we're gonna lose equipment. We're gonna end up not getting paid for jobs and these kind of things. But the key is to learn from those challenges, that pain, that adversity, and let it strengthen you. And of course, surround yourself with people who really genuinely are in that vibration of care and success, creating a remarkable experience. Congrats.
Thank you. And I just want to end on something. If a little Latina can do it, boys, I mean, mans, y'all can do it. I'm doing it. So come on, do it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Mr. Matthias, I know we're at top of the hour here. Did you have a question for Lee?
No, I was actually just going to shout out to Paul for purchasing the course already. So we get her on it. It's going to be good. Congratulations, brother.
Going to be an awesome one. Lee, huge thank you for being here tonight. Everyone give Lee a round of applause for being here tonight and sharing some wisdom and experience with all of you guys.
It was my honor. I appreciate the invitation, Judd. I really do. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, team. Well, listen, we're gonna end things up here, and looking forward to next week already. Next Wednesday we'll be here. Quentin, you've got your hand up. We'll do one more quick.
Hey, yeah. Nice to meet everyone. This is all brand new to me. Judd, do you mind if I follow up with an email to you? I got a specific question about contractor licenses. So
you can reach out via email. Absolutely. We're happy to help in any way, shape, or form, my brother.
Thank you,
Welcome
sir.
to the round table. You got my email because it's in the bottom of my screen, right? You got it. Cool. Cool. All right, guys. Happy roundtable. Everybody got some good gold nuggets? Yeah, cool, nice. All right, cool, man. And we'll see you guys next week. Same time, same place, right here on the AK Roundtable. Thank you, Mr. Matthias.
Let's go.
Brother. Thank
Let's
you, Mr.
go.
Lois.